Hello, core artisans. My name is Shonda, and welcome to my channel Under the Needle. So I am here with my Thankful Thursday. Okay, this is take two. The first one had no sound, and so here I am again, which is probably good for you guys. It sucks for me, but it's probably good for you guys because I should be able to be a bit more concise this time since I've already said everything, right? So in the video I made last week, in my in my Thankful Thursday video I made last week, I talked about everything that I wanted to do over the weekend, right? I had a quilt called the Aubrey quilt pattern that I was working on that I really wanted to finish. It was a project that I had wanted to do for quite some time. I had already chosen my fabric and selected which fabric went, this is fabric A, this is fabric B. I had done all that and set it aside. And I had even modified some of the no, that's a different pattern. I'll take that back. I didn't have to modify the cutting instructions for this one. Some of the ones I do, but they're not this one. So I decided I wanted to do this quilt. So I had been making it. I think I showed you guys it last week. And so I said I wanted to finish that quilt. I think I had all the rows sewn. I just needed to sew the rows together, right? So that was one thing I wanted to get done. Also, the Sew Sampler quilt along. Pressed flowers. I had 2 blocks that I needed to get done, and so I wanted to get those 2 blocks done. Because it was going to be like the first weekend where nothing was planned in a while, where we had nothing planned. So I wanted to do that. And the Open Gate Quilt subscription box had a project in it that I was super excited about it. It was a tote bag, and I wanted to do that. And I think there were some other things I mentioned, but I had a list of sewing projects that I wanted to work on. And then, additionally, on the weekends, sometimes I like to get a little laundry done, maybe do some chores, blah, blah, blah. Well, I woke up Saturday morning and Adrian was next to me, which was shocking because he gets up at 6 a.m. or it's 6:15 every day. And so even on the weekends, he has trouble sleeping in. So usually by the time I wake up, he's already up. So sometimes he might go up and go fishing. Sometimes he might go up and just go to the store just to have something to do. Sometimes he might just sit outside on the deck in the back and just chill, and maybe, call some friends on the phone or, catch up with some folks or spend some time on his phone or something like that. But this morning he was in the bed and I'm like, is everything okay? Because I'm not sure why you're still here. And usually, if there is a morning where, he might still be in the bed, as soon as I wake up, he's like, well, we might as well go ahead and get that Sam's run out of the way that you wanted to get done. And we might as well go ahead and figure out what we're doing for dinner today. We might as well. And then the day starts, right? And I'm dragging. Or, you want some breakfast? Yeah, let me cook some breakfast. Or let's go out and get some breakfast. Movement. Whereas I can spend a weekend in bed and only get up to eat and pee. And the entire time I've known him, I've never known him to spend a day in bed. So I'm expecting the day to start, right? But instead he grabs the remote and he turns on a TV show that we like to binge watch together. And I'm like, so we're staying in bed. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to say anything about it unless, mum's the word. So we watched 4 or 5 episodes of the show, right? Until we got tired of watching it, and then we just put something else on. Because you can only watch but so many episodes sometimes. And then we got a call from my my sister's husband, and he was like, yeah, we're out here fishing. And so he was like, fishing? Okay, well, we'll meet you out there. So we got up, and we got dressed, and we went out, and we met them out fishing. I didn't do any fishing because it was hot that day, and me and heat don't get along. So I kind of stayed under the shade and sat in a chair and watched videos on my phone while they fished. I watched them fish. And then on the way home, I'm like, hey, we'll go to the beach tomorrow. So Saturday, I didn't do my 15-minute workout like I'm supposed to be doing, right? And then I didn't get done any of the sewing that I was supposed to do. And then Sunday, I didn't get my 15-minute workout in. I didn't get any chores done, no laundry, no nothing. And I felt bad. I felt bad because I did not accomplish anything that I said I was going to accomplish. And I felt bad about that. And I was watching a podcast that I normally watch, that I watch all the time, and he had a guest on, and that guest was, her name was Julia Keller, and she was talking about a book she wrote, and the name of the book was Quitting, a Life Strategy, The Myth of Perseverance, and How the New Science of Giving Up Can Set You Free. Now, I've never heard of this author. I have not read this book. I don't know if this is a good book to read or not. But I do know that I liked the conversation. There were things in the conversation that were eye-opening to me. One of the things that they discussed was that, I don't know about other countries. I only know about America because that's where I was born and raised. But we have this culture where, like, giving up or quitting are considered to be negative things. And that, like, if you quit or if you give up, then that means that you're not successful or you're not worthy of success or that you'll never be successful because the only way to be successful is to endure. And how that's really just a lie. Like in that if you're not successful, it's because you didn't work hard. These are fallacies that are woven into the American culture and experience, right? There's this idea that if I work hard, I'm going to be a millionaire. But we know that's not true, right? It's not true. I know people who work very, very hard and are struggling. And I know people who don't work very hard who have done really well. And it's okay to quit. It is okay to quit something. Like, it is okay to say, I don't want to. It's okay. Like, so, okay. So, let me gather myself. So like, it's okay to quit. Like, quitting is okay. And I think the reason why I'm struggling with this is because, like, I've never had to self-reflect. Not in any real way. Because, like, I had my first kid when I was 20 years old. I was working full time. I was going to school full time, and I was a new mother. And I was busy. I was very busy. So who had time to self-reflect? And at 20, who's trying to self-reflect anyway, right? Who's trying to, you don't even know what self-reflection is at 20. You're just out there, right? Because everything's going to be great. Like, you still have all the hope. You still have all the hope and possibility. Now, I'm not naive. I understood that having the child was going to delay my life, right? I was smart enough to know that. But then by the time she was 5 and I could, I was still had some freedom, or could have had some freedom because she's in kindergarten now. I had my second kid, and I'm still working full time. I'm going to school full time, but online, and I've got 2 kids, and I couldn't hack it. Like, I would get up in the morning. I'm getting up at 6 a.m., showering, getting dressed, getting my kids awake, getting them dressed. And I'm a single mom at this point. Getting my kids together, getting them dressed. The baby's dad, he would come and he would watch her during the day while I was at work. And so I would go off to work, and I'd either put my daughter on the school bus or I had to take her to before school care. No, I think actually she stayed at home and rode the bus because that's her dad too. And so he was there with the kids, and so she could just get on the bus, so I didn't have to take her to before school care at that time. And so I was driving to work, working all day. Then I come home. I've got to cook dinner, right? So I'm working. I'm getting off work at like 5:30. With the traffic, by the time I get home, it's like 6:15. That means I've got like 45 minutes, or like 45 minutes to like an hour and 15 minutes to like get dinner on the table and get them fed. Because we would watch, I would watch Jeopardy while I would watch Jeopardy. Like that was like my, while they ate, I would watch Jeopardy. And then when Jeopardy went off, that was Wheel of Fortune. And so I would put her in the bathtub and get her clean. And then I would give her her bottle, and then she would be in bed by 8, the baby. And then from 8 to 9, that would be my time with the older one. So I would, help her get bathed and have some time bonding with her before she went to bed at 9. Then I got to clean the kitchen from dinner that I just made. So by the time I'm sitting down to do my homework, it's 10 o'clock. And I've been going nonstop since 6 a.m. And so I would sit down to do my homework, and or my schoolwork, because it's online. So I'm having to teach myself everything. And I would literally fall asleep at the table. Like I would wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning just on the table like that. And so I quit school. And I don't think I felt bad about it in the moment. Like I don't recall having any guilt about that, because I was realistic enough to know, like, where's the gap in your day? Like, you can't do all your homework on the weekends. You can't do all these online classes and all your homework and spend time with your kids. You just can't do it alone. So I gave up the school, and that was okay. But and it's like life kind of stayed that way. Like getting up at 6, running all day, going to bed, and going to sleep as soon as my head hits the pillow. Like that was my life for years. Like even when, I remarried and I wasn't a single parent anymore, it still was nonstop, on the go. So I never really had time to be still, to think about, or to self-reflect. And it's really only been in the last year, right? Everything kind of came to a crashing halt with the pandemic. I'm no longer commuting to work anymore. I'm home more. And so I got that commuting time back. And so, and then like my kids are older, and they don't even want to be around me most of the time. So I have all this time. I have all this time. And so now it used to be tasks that I had to do. Like I got to take care of these kids. I got to take care of these kids. I got to make sure they're happy, healthy, fed, clean. I got to take care of these kids. I got to take care of these kids. And now it's like I've already taken care of the kids, and they don't need me like that anymore. And now I have all this time to plan things and do things. And it's not just a rat race all the time. And then so I started having guilt when like I wouldn't get things done. Like when I say, okay, I want to get my laundry done this weekend and it's not done, then I felt some kind of way about that. And I feel like some of that guilt was from the vestiges of how I was raised, and like if you don't get stuff done, if you don't finish what you're trying to what you set aside to accomplish, then you're not working hard enough and you're a failure. And I feel like that's been feeding into the issues that I've been having. I've talked about them on this channel, about how I feel and feeling down and stressed out and all that stuff. And I think I've always felt stress, but it was stress about, I gotta get him, gotta get the clothes on, gotta get them washed, gotta get them fed, gotta get them this, gotta get them that, get them to school, get them that, check their homework, make sure they read, do their flashcards. Like, that's what my life was. So like I never felt bad back in the day about not getting laundry done, because the priority was the health, safety, and happiness of the children, and making sure that they have what they need, making sure they have a mother who's present and actually like spends time with them. Like I was never in my bedroom. Like as a parent, I didn't start spending time in my bedroom until my son took over my television, when he started playing video games. So he's 15 now. So maybe back in 2017. Yeah. When he got into Minecraft. Because I never let my kids have televisions in their bedroom. So my kids grew up before you had all the smartphone technology. I definitely couldn't afford fancy phones for my kids. I definitely could not afford Data plans. We didn't have internet access in our home when my kids were like 12. Do we have that? I mean, my son, yes, but my daughter, no. But did we have any when she was 12? 12? I don't think so. I'm trying to think when we got internet. Because my oldest daughter just turned 21 yesterday. So I don't know if we had internet in our home 9 years ago. So, but even if we did, like you couldn't stream Netflix that at that point. You couldn't stream all these TVs. You didn't have all that stuff. So my kids grew up. There were two TVs in the house. One was in our bedroom that me and my husband, and then there was one in the living room. Nobody else had a television. So if you want to watch TV, you're going to watch TV in the living room. And I felt like that kept us together as a family unit. I felt like if I put TVs in their rooms, then they're going to go to their rooms to watch TV and instead of being together. So we watched TV together as a family. And I felt like that really helped to keep us like as a cohesive unit as they were growing up. So once my son started wanting to play video games, it was like, I'm not going to sit here while you take over my television. I'll go in the room and I'll watch TV in there. But until then, I didn't go into my bedroom until it was time to go to bed. After the kids went to bed. Usually even after the kids went to bed. So the kids would go to bed. I would stay in the living room and watch TV. And then it was like, okay, I'm ready to go to bed now. And then I would get up and go get in the bed. I never like laid in the bed and watched TV. I never spent a day in the bed. I didn't do any of that. I was in the living room, in the kitchen. So now that I have all this time, like my daily goals aren't about my children. They're about personal goals. So when I'm setting personal goals or I'm setting a list, like even if you're just, this is what I want to get done today and I don't get it done, like it starts to eat at me because it's like you have time. It's not like before when it's like I didn't have time. I got time. Why am I not getting the stuff done that I want to get done? Maybe I'm a loser. And I think that's part of what was happening. And so hearing what that woman was saying was very helpful to me. And then additionally, I was watching this other lady and she was talking about cleaning her house. And she showed everybody like how messy her house was. Brave woman, just showed everybody. And she was like, look, I like when my house is clean, but I'm just not good at keeping it that way every day. So when it starts to bother me, I make a list and this is how I clean, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just not going to be, and she says, she was like, she said that she was beating herself up. It was affecting her self-esteem, that there were things that other people seemed to be able to do easily, basic tasks that people could do easily that she struggled to do. And that it was starting to eat away at her self-esteem and make her feel down sometimes. And I feel like that's what's happening with me, is that I'm setting these goals for myself. And then when I don't get them done, I'm beating myself up and internalizing it like something's wrong with me, or I'm a bad person, or I'm not a successful person because I can't do these things. And so I'm thankful for mindset. That's what I'm thankful for, because I needed a change in mindset. Why the hell am I beating myself up over nothing? I am raising 3 children who are happy and healthy and decent people. I've done my job. I have put a roof over their head. I have allowed them to have experiences that other people don't get to have, that certainly I never got to have growing up. I take them places. I want them to travel. I want them to see the world. I want them to experience things. I talk to them. So why do I feel bad that I didn't get, the quilt done that I wanted, that I had planned to get done? Why am I letting that affect me? I shouldn't. And so that was a big eye opener for me, just because it was on 2 separate days. I didn't hear those messages on the same day. Like, I think I was beating myself up on Monday. I was like, I didn't get the stuff done that I was trying to get done on the weekend. So let me try to push through. Um, and then I saw that podcast and I was like, well, why? Why? Get done what you get done and don't get done what you don't. It's okay. So I did get some sewing done during the week. Today's Thursday, of course. So between Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and today, this is what I've done. So I did get finished the quilt that I was working on. Aubrey. I got my rows sewn together. She looks good. The original quilt was square. It had 16 blocks. I had enough fabric to do more. I wanted to do 20 blocks so that it would be rectangular. So this is going to be 48 by 60. I had already pieced the back before I made the front. So here's my back. I went with my normal kind of geometric type thing. I like a nice geometric backing. I like everything to be kind of even and symmetrical. That's just my personal preference. It's just how I piece a back. Oh, I got my hair stuck in my glasses. That's just how I choose to piece a back. I just go with symmetry. And so I'm excited about that. And then my Sew Sampler came last week Friday. I haven't uploaded the video. I don't know why. I need to upload the video. But one of the things in that box was a template. And it was this template. Well, it was not this template. It was a small tumbler template. And I was like, yeah, I'm not making that quilt. But I've been wanting to make a tumbler quilt for quite some time. So why not make one? So I dug the template out. And then I went through my layer cakes, right? Because this fits on a layer cake. And I went through my layer cakes and I found this perfect one from Robert Kaufman. Absolutely stunning. I forgot the name of the fabric line. That's going to bug me. I think I threw away the paper too. It's probably still in my trash bag back there. But I know it's cobalt because it came in two colorways, and one colorway was cobalt, and then there was another colorway, and I know I have the cobalt one. But I started making this tumbler quilt. Simplest quilt in the world, okay? Because it's basically like sewing squares together, except it looks a little bit more like you did more, but you didn't. The cutting is super easy on this quilt because basically you can just I just did 6 squares at a time, laid the template on there, cut around the 4 edges. I mean, technically you can just cut around 2, but I like a nice clean edge. Everything's symmetrical. So I cut around all 4 edges. I used my rotating cutting mat. I had this sucker cut up in probably, I don't know, 10 minutes, maybe less, because 6 at a time, that's 7 cuts. So 10 minutes or less, it was all cut out. But when you do a tumbler quilt, of course, you have these edges. And then when you have this edge, you got to take another tumbler, cut it in half, and put one on each side. And I was like, But if I do that, my quilt's going to be too small because I don't have a second layer cake to add in. And I wanted it to be substantial enough to where like an adult can put this on their lap while they're on the couch watching TV. And if I had to take some of those squares and cut them in half, then that wouldn't happen. So I was like, well, what I'll do is I'll use a solid. I'll take a navy solid and I'll cut some squares out of the navy solid and I'll put those on the ends. And I was like, I don't know if I want to like that, just navy going down. I don't know. So I decided that I would like to I'd alternate the cream. So I'd put a blue, and they're solid, so it didn't matter how I cut them, how I flipped them. They were going to be the same because I could rotate them anyway. So that was a selling point. So on the first row, I start with the navy and then end with a cream. And then on the second row, I do the reverse. We start with the cream, and end in the navy. So I have these first 2 rows done and sewn together. Row 3 is also completed. I love this print. I love it. This one and in the blue one. But I think this one's my absolute favorite print in the line. So I've got this one done, and row 4 is almost completed. I've got it partially sewn, just need to finish that. Once row 4 is done, I'll sew row 3 and 4 together, and then I'll probably sew the first set of 2 rows and the second set of 2 rows together. So I'll have the first 4 rows and I'll have 3 rows left apiece. I don't know. I'm not going to make any commitments about what I'm going to get done this weekend because that's what I did last time, and I don't want to do that. So if I do get to sew this weekend, I will continue to work on that. I'm not going to set any goals as to what I'm going to get finished because that's what I was about to do. I was about to say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all my rows sewed together and have my whole top completed by the weekend. That's my problem, guys. That's my problem. I'm not going to say that. So when I get done, when I have some time to sew, I will continue to work on that. All right. I also got to sew the bag. I am loving these palette cleanser projects that are coming in the Open Gate subscription box. I'm loving them. And when I say palette cleanser, I mean something that you can get done in a day or even a couple hours. The project in the add-on from last month was a little tote bag that I was able to get done in 2 hours. And this is even less time than that. It took me all of 5 minutes to get this far because the bag is already made, right? The bag is part of the kit. We get the bag. So all we have is this panel piece. So all I had to do was fuse the heat and bond to the wrong side of the panel piece, then cut it and fuse it on here, which took, let's say, 10 minutes, okay? Now I just have to do a stitch around the edges so it will stay long term. And I'm not sure when I'm going to get to do that because my sewing machine is very heavy and it's set into a table. So in order to do this, I need to access the free arm. And in order to access the free arm, I've got to take it out of the table, which I'm not jazzed about because it is heavy. It's a heavy machine. And I can't get to my Juki right now because I am storing some stuff for my aunt because she moved out of her apartment and she couldn't get this stuff into her storage right now. And so some of that stuff is blocking that machine. Plus I've got some stuff sitting on top of it, some mail and catalogs and stuff. So I can't really get to that one right now. So I might pull out one of the other ones. I need to introduce you guys to my sewing machines one day. But yeah, so I've got to do that. So maybe that'll happen this weekend. Maybe it won't. I'm not making any commitments. So, but I do love this. I love this little bag. This is just so cute. And it's so quick to make. So the sewing around the edges, take 30 minutes at best. So this whole thing is done in less than an hour. It's such a palette cleanser because it's you get to kind of move away from what you've been working on and just get something done quickly that doesn't take, a week to do. Because some of the other smaller projects, they're pieced. And so, yeah, you can get them done in a day or 2 days, but it's also kind of nice to have something that you can get done in an hour or two as well. It's a real sense of accomplishment, when you can just have that done, just kind of work on something else, just kind of, that way you're kind of changing it up without committing to something long term, right? So I have three works in progress that I've been working on for this year. Postcards from Sweden. My favorite color is Moda, and another quilt called Interwoven. And I put all that away before the party because those are just big projects. They take a lot of time. They take time and thought and energy. And so before the 4th of July, when things started to get busy, I kind of put those projects away and I kind of worked on easier stuff. So, the postcard from Sweden is pretty easy, but not as easy as the Aubrey quilt. So yeah, just worked on that. So I'll see what I get done this weekend. I don't know, but I'll see what I get done. I do hope to sew. I know we have plans on Saturday. We have a family function to go to. So I know that I don't, but it doesn't start till 4 o'clock. So, but I don't know what else might come up. I don't. So if I get any sewing done this weekend, it will likely be on the tumbler quilt. That's likely what I'll work on. I probably won't pick back up on the three main projects I was working on until I get the space cleaned up. Because I need a little bit of space to work on those projects. And I have been putting a lot of pressure on myself to get this cleaned up, and I feel bad that I haven't, and now I don't feel bad. I don't, my house is clean. I keep my house clean, like my living room is clean. My kitchen is clean. I clean my kitchen every morning. Um, my bedroom is always a mess. It's very teenagery. Clothes and stuff. But the rest of the house looks good. So who cares about my sewing room in the basement? Who cares? And even if my area is clean, the rest of the space around me is not. I've got, my aunt's boxes. We've got like we just got a new deep freezer. So the old one's still down here, sitting here. And there's other stuff and just tools and beach stuff, all the beach chairs and boogie boards are down. Like even if my area is clean, it's still a mess down here. Like it's not like if I clean my area, this is all clean. That's not the case. Do I need to do something? Yes. Will I do something eventually? Yes. Am I going to pressure myself to do it now? No. No, I'm not. Mindset. Now, so I want to announce the giveaway winner from the pumpkin drawing, but I'm also going to announce a new giveaway because when I finished that Aubrey quilt, although the reason I pieced the back was because I had so much fabric left. Once I had chosen the fabric for the front and I had done all of my cut, I had so much fabric left. So even after piecing the back, I have so much fabric left. And the fact of the matter is I'm not going to do anything with this. Once I make a quilt with a fabric, I don't usually want to work with that fabric again. Not because I don't love the fabric, but because I have so many fabrics that I love that I want to move on to something else, right? If I keep fiddling with scraps, I'll never get to the stash. So, normally I don't have quite this much in regards to, it's not quite this much usually. This is a lot of fabric. It's probably about, 4 or 5 yards, if I had to guess. But let me show you guys what I'm going to give away. We got just some small scraps here. This is just some cutoffs from the blocks that I was making. More cutoffs from the blocks I made. This piece here, what's this? This is almost half a yard. It's about 17 inches by width of fabric. It doesn't look like it, but this is very much purple, purple, purple. You got this here. This is probably half a yard. Yeah, because it's not the full width of fabric. So I guess it's like a fat half yard. Is that a thing? Oh gosh. Okay. We got this piece here. I didn't even use this in my quilt, so definitely a half yard of this. The line is Violet Femme. It was by Boundless, so this is something that I bought from the Blueprint website back in probably 2019, 2020. These are the fabrics that I use for my backing. So we have two pieces here. And this is probably about, well, it's not half a yard, but it's probably about, it's more than a quarter yard. It's definitely more than 9 inches. Yeah, because that's 10. This is probably about 12 inches by width of fabric, so a third of a yard of each of these. I don't know if this is a full width of fabric, but it's probably about 4 inches wide. We have another scrap here. Some more cutoffs from the blocks. Another little scrap. This is probably a fat quarter or thereabouts. I don't think I used this one in my... No, I did use some of this, but not much. Shoot, this is probably... What? This is 15 inches. So this is more than a third of a yard. And I'm giving it away because, like, what am I doing with it? Like, I can't throw this stuff in the garbage, so I'd rather just ship it to one of you guys. Another piece here, another piece here, another piece here. These are probably about 4 inches wide by 36 inches. I didn't use this in my quilt at all. This is probably either a fat quarter or a fat eighth, or it's probably a quarter yard. It's probably a quarter yard cut. A little bit of this left. Nice chunky piece of this left. And then some smaller scraps. I'm just keeping, I've got this here. This is going to be what I use for my binding. So, if you want to enter into the giveaway, you have until Wednesday at midnight Pacific Standard Time. That's next Wednesday. So that's, today's the 10th. Today's the 10th. The 16th. So Wednesday the 16th at midnight Pacific Standard Time. And if you want to be entered into the giveaway, you just need to comment the word purple. I was going to go with violet since it's Violet Femme, but I think purple is just an easier word for us. And so the giveaway from last week for the pumpkin toss. So we've got the fabric in here. We've got the thread. We've got the pattern. I was not able to find a backing. I didn't really get a chance to look. So I'm going to look again to see if I find anything compatible. But really, fig tree isn't in my colorway. I don't own... If I have any fig tree in my collection, it's from a Sew Sampler box. I don't think that I've ever on purpose bought fig tree. No, I don't think that I have. I like Joanna Figueroa's work, but I don't know. I'm usually not drawn to her. I usually like more bold colors. She tends to go with colors that are a bit more muted, and I like colors that are loud. I kind of like loud, and her stuff is a bit more. Her fabric is not loud, and I like bold, colorful, and loud, which is the opposite of what I wear in my clothing. My clothing is all usually pretty much subdued. My clothes match this fabric. Okay, I got on black leggings with with an orange shirt. So my clothes match this, but my quilting fabric, I like it loud. Loud, bold, and colorful. So, yeah. So I don't know if I have anything that's going to work. I really don't. Unless it's like a plain cream or a plain black. I don't know. But I wanted something a bit more creative than that. But I'm going to look. But the winner for this is Kenyatta Creates. So Kenyatta Creates. My email address is in the description box. If you email me your full name and address, I will get this out in the mail to you. And if I can find a backing, I will throw it in, and hopefully you can make something nice. So, yeah, that is it for me, and I'll see you guys next video.